Hey everybody, it's Dr. Debbie Pate. Oops, it's not even started yet. Hey everybody, I am Dr. Debbie Pates and welcome to Wellness Wednesday Virtual Yoga at GOCA. It is a beautiful, unseasonably warm day out today, but it's very windy. So it's not so fun to be outside, and it's actually kind of cold in here, so I got my fireplace going. And welcome. Why don't we get started and do some yoga? Let's get started in child's pose. So come on to your knees and let your forehead rest on the mat. Your knees can be wide, your knees can be close together. And begin to tap in to your breath. Inhaling and exhaling through your nose, if possible. Starting to really pay attention to the breathing, starting to narrow your focus. And give yourself time here to kind of settle in to the space of yoga. Right? So you chose to come to yoga, you chose to practice today. And now allow yourself to settle in to that space, right? So practice as a moving meditation. And in meditation, some kinds of meditation anyway, we try to keep our breath, our focus on one thing. Often that's the breath. And what we notice is how often to what you're going to eat for lunch, or the thing that you said the other day that, oh my God, and or something more mundane, whatever. And the trick is to then bring your focus back. Bring your focus back to the breath. Recognize the thought, you let it go, and you bring your focus back to the breath without judging yourself, without saying, oh God, I can't believe I was thinking about lunch. You just come back. And so allowing yourself in this time, this opening child's pose here, to start to let go, acknowledge all of those other pulls on your attention. Aside, right? Maybe even kind of in your mind, literally like writing them down on a virtual piece of paper and saying, I'm going to come back to this list later, but right now I'm going to practice yoga. And again, throughout the practice, you do this. X, and then you come back. And one of the ways that you can stay present is by listening to my voice and listening to the cues, right? Because I'm doing the yoga with you guys. I'm cueing you through the yoga. So that's one way that you can stay. But I know, because I've practiced plenty of times with teachers who are talking and talking, that I also have to bring my mind back. So it's a practice. And that's one of the ways that the yoga becomes a moving meditation. So allowing yourself here to ground, set this practice, notice your hands, maybe pushing into the ground. And if your arms are by your side in child's pose, stretch your arms out in front of you right now. Stretch your arms out in front of you and plant your palms on the earth. Notice your fingertips really making contact with your mat. Notice your palms. And then tuck your toes. Lift your hips. Lift your knees. Facing dog. In, down, dog. Rock forward. So come into a high plank. And when you get to high plank, you want to have your hands directly underneath your shoulders and your heels pushing back. So your body's in one line. So from plank here with your hands under your shoulders, don't move your hands, don't move your feet. Send your hips up. Notice how you're lengthening your back. Let your heels sink down toward the ground. Your touch doesn't matter. You're trying to get your heels down so that you get a nice stretch through your calves, your Achilles, through the backs of your legs, right? But you're trying to not judge yourself on how high or low your heels are. So we also, through our practice, can begin to notice these thought patterns and how they serve us. Take a bunch of baby steps. Maybe really baby steps. And trying to push your heels down. Really being conscious as you walk forward of trying to get your heels to the earth. Just continuing to open up through your calves, through the backs of your legs. And as you get closer to your hands, you may need to come up onto your fingertips. Okay. And then when you get to the top of your mat, feet maybe hip width distance, hang in ragdoll. Hang upside down. Let your head be heavy. Take the wrinkles out of the back of your neck. Maybe bend your elbows and tuck your hands in the crook of opposite elbow, or you could grab onto opposite elbow and maybe sway gently back and forth. Maybe. All these are suggestions. Right? So you get to pick which feels right to you today. Bring awareness to your feet. How are your toes? Can you wiggle your toes, or are you kind of death gripping the ground? How are the backs of your legs? How are your hamstrings? If your hamstrings are really tight here, maybe bend your knees. Maybe bend your knees throughout this whole practice. Breathing here. Breathing through the whole practice as well. And then begin to round up. Keep your knees soft, that's probably better. Rounding up, trying to make your head the last thing that comes up. Take your time. You're really deliberate here. Take your time rolling up. Get to standing. Head is last. And then when you get to standing, roll your shoulders up and back and down and shine your palms forward. Lift your kneecaps, engage your quadriceps, and feel yourself standing here tall. Become aware of how you're feeling right now in this moment in time. And just acknowledge it, right? We're going to move, and we're going to move energy, and hopefully we may that feeling for you, hopefully if it's negative. And if it's good, maybe just keep that good juju going, right? Okay? So acknowledging where you are, acknowledging whether you want to allow it to shift. It's going to shift anyway. And then inhale your arms up. Really reaching up, catch a star, bring your palms together and bring your hands in to your heart center. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up. One more time, hands together and hands into your heart. Inhale, arms up, and then this time either hands through heart center or swan dive, fold down. We're going to grow this sun A flow. Inhale, halfway lift. So think about the back of your neck. You want the energy to be able to flow, right? So if you're looking up, you're kind of kinking back there. And if you're looking down, then there's still energy flow, but a kink in the front. So try to really think about your neck as part of your spine, which it is. So a straight spine includes looking maybe a foot or two, depending on how big you are, in front of your feet. Forward fold, sweep your arms out, rise up, flat back, takes you to the top, hands together overhead, and pull your hands into your heart. Inhale, arms up, and then bow, either swan dive or hands through the heart. Center, forward fold, halfway lift, and then this time put your hands down on the mat and step back to a high plank position. So again, hands under the shoulders, heels are pushing back. Hinge forward and back a couple of times. Let's get some movement through our toes. Hinging forward and back. Noticing how it feels in the bottoms of your feet. And hinge forward and lower, keeping your elbows in by your sides. Chaturanga. Roll up to onto the tops of your feet. From the upward facing dog, you can always choose cobra instead. Downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here, really deep, full breaths in and out. Maybe take a breath in through your nose and then exhale through your mouth. Ah, sigh, let it go. Inhale, do that again. Maybe even on an exhale, do a lion's breath. So a lion's breath, you open your mouth wide and you stick your tongue out. It feels kind of good to do, even if it sounds silly. But you're alone in your house, here in down dog. Inhale and then a lion's breath out. Look in between your hands. And make your way to the top of your mat, your space. Halfway lift, inhale. Moving into sun salutation, forward fold. Sweep your arms up, out, rise to standing. Bring your hands together overhead and pull your energy into your heart. Inhale. Oh, and bow. Inhale and lengthen halfway up. Fold and step back, high plank. Trying to alternate which feet you step back with. Lower chaturanga. Upward facing dog is an inhale. Downward facing dog is an exhale. So when we move to Sun B today, we're going to start with a very straight up ashtanga style Sun B flow. And in ashtanga, they really put a lot of focus on linking breath with movements. So when we get there, I will coach you through that, but you do what works for you. You can challenge yourself to try to match the breath to the movements, or you do what works for you. Look in between your hands and step to the top of your space. Lengthen halfway up, inhale. Exhale, fold. Sweep your arms up and out, rise. Arms overhead, hands together, and pull it into your heart. Inhale your arms up. One more, Sun A, fold. Warming, halfway lift, inhale. Fold, high plank to low plank. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Look in between your hands and step to the top of your space. Jump however you want to get there. Lift halfway. Fold. Rise all the way up. Stand. Arms overhead. Hands into your heart. And keep your hands into your heart. Bring your feet together. Bring your big toes into touch. And bow. Not bow, I meant squat. Come on into Utkatasana. Chair pose. Have your hands at your heart to start with here. You can even bring your thumb in and press it on your sternum. You can look down, and if you cannot see your toes, move your knees further back. Sink a little bit lower. Bend your knees. Don't be afraid. Worst thing that happens is you'll lose your balance a little bit. And then notice how maybe you want to tilt your tailbone up, maybe you want to scoot your tailbone a little. So stressing out. If you would like, you could take a different hand position, maybe bringing your biceps up by your ears. And if you chose to bring your biceps up by your ears, notice the shift in your calmness, if there is one. Notice the shift in your engagement and your energy here. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. And then forward fold. halfway lift, inhale, exhale, forward fold, sweep your arms up and rise to standing, bring your hands together overhead and pull your energy into your heart. Inhale your arms up and sink into chair again. So we're going to move into the Sun A flow here. It's on B flow, and the only warrior posture we do in this ashtanga flow is warrior one, and then we come back to down dog. You don't need to memorize it. I'll talk you through it. Be brave here. Stay in chair pose. If you need to go further or less far. When we go into this next flow, what I want you to think about is this is not intended to stress you out, okay? This is intended to just be challenging, but not make you say mean things to yourself or to make you get in a negative headspace. So please, awareness of that, okay? From Utkatasana, exhale, forward fold. So on your inhale, halfway lift. And then you're going to plant your hands. Stay in halfway lift for a second here. You're going to plant your hands, step back to high plank, and lower into chaturanga on an exhale. So exhale, step back, lower chaturanga. Upward facing dog is your inhale. On your exhale, down dog, continue exhaling, right foot steps, back foot flat. Inhale, rise up, and then exhale back down all the way through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Exhale, exhale, left foot steps. Inhale, up, warrior one. Exhale, down all the way through chaturanga. Upward facing dog is an exhale, and downward facing dog. Upward facing dog is an inhale, sorry. Downward facing dog, you exhale. Whoo, look in between. Let's take 3 breaths here. And we're going to go through that 2 more times on each side. Look in between your hands, step, hop, jump to the top of your space, halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees. Inhale, chair, come to standing and bring your hands to your heart. Breath in, breath out. And then when you're ready, arms up, chair pose. Inhale here in chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale all the way through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing right foot. Inhale, warrior one, rise. Exhale, all the way through chaturanga. Upward facing is an inhale. Exhale, down dog, left foot steps. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, down, high plank, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 or 3 breaths here. Notice if your heart rate is increased a little bit. That's okay. That's a good thing. Look in between your hands and make your way to the top of your space. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, rise. Open chair, up. Stand, hands to your heart, and close that cycle. 1 more time, arms up. Utkatasana, chair. Take a breath in here, and then forward fold, let your breath out. Lengthen, including your breath, and then fold all the way down on that exhale to chaturanga. Up, dog is an inhale, and down dog, exhale, right foot steps, flat, left foot rise. Inhale, warrior one, through, chaturanga. Oh, inhale is an up dog. Downward facing dog, exhale, left foot, inhale, warrior one. Take it back down, exhale all the way through chaturanga. Upward facing dog is an inhale, and down dog is an exhale. Nice job. So that's the ashtanga flow. Something different, playing with similar familiar movements and doing them perhaps a little bit differently. From downward facing dog, lift up your right leg. Let your left heel continue to sink. Bend your right knee and open up your hip. So if you want to make some circles here, go ahead. Let it feel good. And then lift your right leg back up and shift forward, knee to nose. Right leg back up. Shift forward, right knee toward left elbow. Shift forward, back. Shift back up, lift it back up. Shift forward, right knee toward right elbow. Lift back up. Shift forward and plant your right foot next to your right hand. Spin your back foot flat and rise up, warrior one. And let's hold warrior one here for a moment. Pushing into your back foot to try to get your left hip point facing forward. Sinking into your right knee. Clasp your hands behind your back. Squeeze your palms together. Straighten your elbows, shoulder blades squeeze. Open up your heart. Open up your heart. There's a lot of things going on these days that we are finding ourselves being very judgmental about. Okay? And there are people on the other side who feel equally strongly in the opposite way. Open up your heart. I'm not saying believe that they're right. Open up your heart and then bow with humility. Humble warrior. Bring your right shoulder to the inside of your right knee. Let your hands come off your back toward the floor overhead. Keep your breath steady. Feeling a stretch, maybe in your right hip. Rise back up. Warrior one. Open up, warrior two. Keeping your right knee bent. You can always straighten it out for a sec if you need to relieve some pressure, and then bend it again. So in yoga, right, we want to try to challenge ourselves to stay in difficult moments. But if we're becoming reactive, oh my God, my leg is burning, I need to bend, and just straighten it for a sec, and then re-engage. Flip your right palm, reverse warrior. Your right knee moves forward as your right hand moves back. Left arm can go down your left leg or snake behind your back, whatever you like better. Reach, inhale, and then make your way down. Step back to high plank. Lower to chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Breath in. Breath out. Let go of that side. It's over. That moment's over. It went the way it went. And you don't need to judge yourself about it. Lift your left leg up, bend your knee if you want to open your hip. Let your right heel continue to move toward the floor. Circles, if that feels good in your body. Doing what feels right today because it feels right today, not because it's what you always do. Lift your leg back up, shift forward, knee to nose. Lift your leg back up, shift forward, bring your left knee towards your right elbow. Shift forward, back up, and shift forward, left knee to left elbow. Back three-legged dog. Step your left foot through. Low lunge. Spin your right foot flat. In rise, warrior one. And again, we'll hold for a breath or two. Really get your foot position good here. So you might look at your front foot, look at your back foot, feel yourself grounding. Your knee, your right knee, left knee is bending, but you're lifting. You're lifting from kind of you're grounding from your waist down, let's say, your hips down, and then you're lifting from your waist up. And then keep that sense of lift in your upper body, in your rib cage, even as you reach behind you and clasp your hands behind your back and open, open. And to that other side that thinks so strongly and feels so differently, send some healing energy. And send, and maybe be ready to receive whatever needs to be received, right? And then bow with humility. Engage your sense of awe. Left shoulder inside, left knee, hands coming off your back. Breathing, noticing there might be a challenge to your balance here a little bit. Rise back, up, warrior one, and open, warrior two. You might need to change your foot position here, reaching forward, reaching back, opening up your hips, right? So your left hip is tracking, your left knee rather is tracking out over your left pinky toe, and your right hip point is trying to open up a little bit away from that. Almost an external rotation of your right thigh, if that makes sense to you. And then flip your left palm, reverse your warrior. Maybe right hand behind your back, if that felt good, if you did it on the other side. And windmill down. High plank. Lower to chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg again. Knee to nose. Or forehead. Lift your right leg again. Right knee across to left elbow. And this time, straighten your right knee and put the pinky edge side of your foot on the ground. So probably a lot of you guys are feeling this in your IT band. That's what you're feeling on the outside of your right leg. If you want to feel more, if you don't feel enough, bend your elbows and lower your hips. It's hard, Come on back up. Bring your right leg back. Actually, keep your right foot where it is. Spin your left foot flat and roll open. Lift your left hand to the sky. Version of side plank here. And then bring your left hand back down. Come up on your left toes. Bring your right leg back up and step it through. Keep your left hand on the mat. Right arm up, twist. Take a few breaths here. Really allow your right chest to open up. Try to spin your rib cage to the right. Let this feel good. Come on back to this moment. Come on back to your breath. Bring your right hand down. Keep on your left toes and stand up. Crescent lunge. Different than warrior one. Pushing your left hip point forward. Reaching your left heel back. Bring your hands to heart center. Left elbow to outside of right knee, twist. If you want to drop your back knee here, go ahead and drop your back knee. Push your knee into your elbow wherever you are. Elbow pushes back into knee. Top hand pushes into bottom hand. And maybe you look up. And then unwind and come into runner's lunge. Drop your left knee if you hadn't already. Toe heel your right foot up toward the top right corner of your mat and allow your body to sink down. We've been doing a lot of moving and now we're going to pause. Breathe. Breathe in this moment. Notice if your thoughts drifted. And if they did, bring them back to this moment. And if you were like, oh no, I should have known better, that's okay. That's what our minds do, right? They offer lots of suggestions to us. And then you say, okay, thank you. I like those suggestions, but I'm doing yoga right now. I'm going to come back to my breath. I'm going to come back to feeling my back knee on the floor. I'm going to come back to feeling my front foot, noticing the angle of my right knee, noticing what's going on in my right thigh, front and back of my leg there. And then if you're down, come on back up and tuck your left toes, lift your left knee, step your right foot back to meet your left, and ground into your left hand and spin open, side plank this time to the right. So you could drop your left knee back down if you want, or have your feet stacked, lifting your arm, taking any version of this posture you want, whatever you like here, and then bring your right hand back down, lower chaturanga, make your way to downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up. Knee to nose, shift forward. Left leg back up. Bring your left knee towards your right elbow, straighten out your left leg and put the pinky edge on the floor. First, stay here. So we're giving a little love to our IT band, breathing into what it is that you're feeling, especially if it's intense. Bend your elbows if you want more intensity. Straighten your elbows up, spin your right foot flat, modified side plank, open up, lift your right arm, lift your hips, lift your energy, lift your attitude, and then come on back, right hand down, step your left foot up, and bring your left foot through. Keep your right hand on the ground, lift your left hand up, side twist, and pause here a moment, really trying to get your rib cage toward the side, opening up, right, like tucking your right ribs under here and opening through your heart. Left hand down, rise up, crescent lunge. Pushing through your back heel, right hip coming forward, hands to your heart and twist. You can drop your back knee or stay up, but bring your right elbow to your left knee and open up, open up, open your heart. Maybe you look up here, heart's opening to the side. Breath continues to flow, even in the constriction of the twist. And then unwind, drop your back knee if you didn't already have it down. Runner's lunge. Left foot comes toward top left corner of your mat and bring your upper body down. Honor where you are today. Your body is showing up. Your body is showing up, and presumably your body's doing the best it's got. I don't think that our bodies don't make the decision like, I don't feel like stretching that much today, so I'm just going to tighten up a little bit. It's just that your body is tighter today. Or, hey, look at this. It's not like your body says, I feel like being nice to you here so that you feel better about yourself. But do be aware of the attachment that we have to how our body shows up. We're going to move into side plank. So come on up. If you want to have your right knee on the ground, you can keep your right knee on the ground now. Otherwise, lift your right knee up, tuck your toes, bring your left foot back to meet your right, and spin open. Right hand is down, left hand lifts. Side plank. Breathe. In and out, conscious breath. Bring your left hand back down and make your way to downward facing dog in whatever way feels good to you. Drop your elbows to the ground. Let's do a dolphin. So you might want to walk your feet in a little bit and shift your shoulders forward. There is an arm balance here. If you want to do it, go ahead. Otherwise, just work on shoulder strength here. And then drive into your hands. If you're in the arm balance, take your time. Keep playing if you want. Drive into your hands. Downward facing dog. If you're with us, look in between your hands. Make your way to the top of your space. Half lift, come on up. Forward fold, come on down. And sweep your arms up. Rise with a flat back, core engaged. Arms up, overhead, and pull that energy into your heart. Moving into some balancing. So come to the top of your mat. I'm going to take a drink here. Hand. And eagle. Sink into chair. And right arm under, right leg up and over. Garudasana. So Garuda means eagle. Asana is the yoga posture. And something fun is in the Indonesian national airline is called Garuda Air. So that's kind of fun, huh? Bow forward from this eagle. Bring your torso down in line with the ground. Engage your core. And unwind your right leg so that you come into a bound airplane / warrior 3. And then choose which way you want to unwind your arms to. So either coming to airplane with your arms behind you, palms down, or arms in front of you to warrior 3, palms facing each other, thumbs up. Either one is fine. Just make a choice. Doesn't really matter, right? So just choose one. And then come up to standing. Keep your knee up. Keep your knee up. Keep your knee up. Come to standing with your knee bent in front of you. And then extend your right leg out in front of you. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. It's a big name. Bend your knee again and grab your knee or your big toe. And open your right leg out to the right. And open your left arm out to the left. Keep breathing. Maybe you can look left. Maybe like me, you're losing your balance, no big deal. Come on back center, release your knee or your toe. Come on back. 2, warrior 3 or airplane. Maybe take the other one. Ooh. And then put your hands down on the ground. 3 standing splits rather. And then let your right foot come down behind your left foot. Pinky toes touch. So now we're working our sciatic nerve, which runs from base of your spine down the back of your leg. You might feel that whole thing here. Breathe. Your hands can be, of course, on a block, a water bottle, a piece of furniture. And then unwind your feet and roll up to standing. And let's give that a go on the other side. Arms up. Chair. Eagle. Left arm under. Left leg up and over. And through all these postures, yeah, you do what you can. You do what you can. Maybe you have an injury that's making this uncomfortable. Well, then don't do it, right? You want to be able to tolerate discomfort, but not create imbalance and injury. Bring your torso down, parallel to the ground. Unwind your left leg. So your leg is in warrior 3. And then make a choice to unwind your arms into either Warrior 3, arms straight ahead of you, or arms behind you, airplane. And then come on, teeter up, bring your knee in to your chest, straighten your leg. Try not to lean back. That's hard. Try not to lean back. Arms are lifting, left leg is lifting, and then grab either your left knee or your left toes. Bring your left knee out to the left and your right arm out to the right. Look right. Notice engagement in your body. Notice your torso. Notice how, right, the more engaged you are, actually, the easier this is, oddly enough. Come on back to center, straighten your leg again. Bring it back behind you. Take the opposite arm position. It's not the opposite, I guess it's the other arm position. So either airplane or warrior 3. And then hands down onto the ground. Standing splits for a moment. Most people aren't really in any near version of a split here. So you're just standing, bending forward, hands on the ground, lifting your left leg up to whatever degree feels good to you. And now drop your left leg behind your right, pinky toes, touch-ish. And breathe into the experience of this stretch on this side. Unwind your feet and come up to standing. Roll it up, shoulders up and back and down. Lift your arms up, chair. Bring your hands to your heart and twist again. Left elbow outside of your right knee. Just a couple of breaths here. Get it while the going's good, and then unwind. Gorilla. Separate your feet, hips width or wider. Slide your hands underneath your feet, palms facing up. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and then exhale. Take that length down. Why is this called gorilla? Because maybe you work on bending your elbows out to the side. You don't have to do that. Maybe it's enough of a challenge just to be in this position calmly. So good, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to put ourselves into positions that give us a challenge and see how we show up. Undo your foot-hand position. Bring your big toes back into touch. Bend your knees. Chair. And the twist. Hands to your heart, right elbow outside of your left knee. Unwind back to chair and stand up. Take a really wide step out. Come to Prasarita. So your feet are parallel to each other, really wide. Arms are reaching out. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and bow forward. Wide-legged, forward, fold. Maybe grab onto your toes. Maybe roll your weight a little bit forward into the balls of your feet. Let go of your feet and walk your torso over towards your left foot. Grab with your left hand behind your left calf. And with your right foot, grab onto your left shin or ankle. Right hand, I meant. You can even rest your head on your right arm if you want. Try not to turn your hips too much. Breathe into the sensation. And then release. Walk to the other side. Bring your right hand and arm behind your right calf. Grab onto wherever you can with your left hand on the outside of your leg. Maybe you rest your head on your left arm. Acknowledging, honoring, being present for your body, for your mind, being in this moment as it is. Release, come to center, bring your hands to your hips. Squeeze your elbows toward the ceiling, shoulder blades together. Rise up with a flat back. Tee your arms out. So another ashtanga thing is you just kind of go back to one side, back to the other. So, well, anyway, turn your right foot out. You're in prep pose for triangle, and yes, that's where we're going. Go into triangle. Reach your right arm forward, and then tilt. Trying to open. You want to try to keep your right glute kind of tucking under. And rolling again, like in that twist. Right rib under. Left arm reaches up. And maybe if your body allows you, even open up a little bit, allowing your left arm to almost fall back behind you. Breathe. If you want to bind, you can bind here. Reaching the crown of your head forward and your left hips back. And then bend your right knee. And let's hop up into one more balancing pose. Half moon. If you have a block, you might want to use it underneath your right shoulder. I'm very in love with this pose these days. I think I've been doing it pretty much every practice I teach. Breathing into the opening, into what you're feeling. And then step back, maybe grab your block and just kind of transfer it to the other side. Come back into the wide-legged stance. Turn both feet parallel. Clasp your hands behind your back. Open your heart and bow. Letting your hands come off your back like in Humble Warrior. Rise back up. I know that wasn't too long. Tee your arms out. Turn your left foot toward the back of your mat. Maybe turn your right toes in a little bit. Reach forward and triangle. Tilt. Honoring the integrity of the pose. Noticing how it feels, if it feels different, coming into it from a different angle, noticing whether you like it, whether you don't like it. Familiar poses in a slightly different flow, right? So how are you showing up around that? Is it exciting? Is it different? Or is it irritating because you like it to be the same? Just being aware and checking out how you like it. And if you do like it, good. And if you don't like it, good. Opportunity to change. Half moon. Calmness through the engagement. And stepping back. And take a shorter stance this time. Turn your heels in and squat. You could bring your hands to your heart. So coming into a yogic squat, as wide, have your feet as wide as they need to be to keep your heels on the ground. You want to try to keep your torso upright and try to let your butt sink as close to the ground as possible. So don't imitate what I'm doing. I don't get very close to the ground in this posture because of my hip structure. So let your butt come down as low as it will. Breathing, opening, enjoying this. as best you can. So for some people, this is a really relaxing and restful pose. For other people, it's a very challenging pose. Neither one is right, neither one is wrong. It's just which way your body's showing up. And then gently allow your butt to come to the ground. Yourself so that you are, once again, lengthwise on your mat. Feet out in front of you. Lift your arms up. Forward fold. Paschimottanasana. Trying to get the crown of your feet beyond, crown of your head beyond your feet. So going for length first. Length. Letting the exhales soften the pose, soften your body. And then roll up. Roll all the way back, down onto your back. You bend your knees and come on into bridge or wheel. We're going to lift the hips. If you're in wheel, taking care of your neck, trying not to let your knees splay out too far, and then come on down, let your knees knock toward each other. Inhale and exhale, and then go right back up. Bridge or wheel. Bridge, maybe you want to clasp hands under your back and walk your shoulder blades toward each other. Pushing firmly into your feet, whichever version you're in. And then come on down. Knock your knees in together. Noticing your heart beating. And one more time. Bridge or wheel, lift up. Choose the one that's right for you today, not the one that your brain says is better. Maybe challenging yourself to take a different version, if that's okay for you. Whichever version you're in, think about moving your tailbone, your tush, away from your shoulders. Lengthening through your low back, and then release. Let your back come down to the ground. Soles of your feet together, knees open wide. Maybe rock your knees left to right a little bit. Letting your breath be what your breath is. And then bring your soles of your feet back. Cross your right ankle on top of your left knee. And lift your left thigh up. So a supine figure 4. Slide your right hand through the hole. Clasp the back of your left thigh or the front of your left shin. Version of pigeon here on our backs. Breathe. Try to get your tailbone on the ground and your shoulders as well. Your shoulder blades for sure. Head also on the ground. So you want your upper body as relaxed as possible in this shape. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Breathe like you mean it. Getting juicy here, really spending a few moments in this version of pigeon on your back. And then release and turn this into a spinal twist. So let your legs drop to the left. And tee your arms out, look to the right. You don't have to tee your arms out. You can maybe place your hand on your right knee. Arm back center, uncross your legs. Put your feet on the ground and then left ankle on top of your right knee. Lift your right leg up and grab onto chin or thigh. Try to press your tailbone down onto the ground. Head, upper body as relaxed as possible. If you're really tight, you can put your head on a block here, on a pillow. Being tight is not a condemnation of you as a human being. Being tight can be your bone structure, your muscle structure. Sometimes when I go on a long run, my hamstrings are really tight after that. My hips are really tight after that. It's just a consequence of the way we use our body. Is it good or bad? It just is, right? Sometimes we make trade-offs, and that's what we do. That's what we do. If you choose to do this, if you choose to whatever, go to the movie on Monday night, that means you're not going to the cooking demonstration on Monday night. Just make a choice. It's not a good or bad thing. It's just a choice. What might be bad is our reactivity that comes from that choice. Release and twist. Legs go to the right, head goes to the left. And then come on back center and let your legs just slide down. If you go ahead and do a shoulder stand. I was wanting to do that at the end of this practice, but come into Shavasana because I'm trying to do a 5-minute Shavasana, and that would be now. So Shavasana, and you've got some time here. Sink into the floor. Allow yourself once again, come to yoga. Be present. Be present for these last few moments of our practice together. Be present for your own life. Life is so short, all things considered, and life is so mercurial. There's no anything. Enjoy it. Be present for it. And how do you want to be present? Do you want to be present in a way where you're mean to yourself and you're criticizing yourself? This doesn't mean you don't want to get better or improve. This doesn't mean you don't want to question the ways that you do things. But being mean to yourself is very different. Don't spend your life being mean to yourself and pretending that's motivation. Telling yourself you're fat isn't inspiration to be on a diet. It's just mean. Right? How can you set goals? How can you be present in a way that honors who you are, rather than rips down who you are, because we all know the world spends plenty of time doing that to us. Honoring who you are in a true and open way, acknowledging that like every other human, you have things you're better at and things that you're not as good at. Respecting who you are, where you are. Embrace your own perfect imperfection. And then allowing that energy to spread to embrace everybody else's perfect imperfection. What if it's true that everyone is doing the best that they can with the level of consciousness that they have? Think about that. Everyone, yeah, really everyone is doing the best they can with the level of consciousness that they have right now. I know. It's challenging to extend that to everyone, because some people do some pretty weird stuff. But what if we're just trying our best? Those people doing some apparently really boneheaded things, we say, wow. I hope for you that your consciousness expands and increases. That's a lot nicer, huh? Finding space, just like in halfway lift, we want to have our neck in line with our head to create our neck in line with our spine, to create greater energy flow in our mind too, right? And thinking negative thoughts and hateful thoughts, which of course we all do, but thinking those things dampens our energy flow. And the more kindness we can put out there, the better it feels to us, and the more kindness there is in the universe. I'm going to leave you guys here in Shavasana. If you need to start moving, do so now. We're at 1 o'clock. Coming up to seated. And however you end your practice, please spend a moment or two in gratitude. I am grateful to you for allowing me to do this practice with you every Wednesday at noon. We'll be here again next week. There's going to be a survey in the chat box, so please fill that out if you haven't already. Have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week. Blessings to you. Namaste. So I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna cut and link, and if you guys wouldn't mind giving some feedback already, I'm trying to incorporate feedback. One of those is a longer Shavasana, so cutting and pasting this. There we go. So and your suggestions. And much surveys. See you next week.